You know, there's this very specific visceral feeling that I think every EV driver has had, but you never see it in the commercials.
Hmm.
It's not just range anxiety. That word feels, I don't know, too bland now. It doesn't capture the actual moment.
You're talking about the infrastructure betrayal.
Exactly. The betrayal. That's the perfect word.
Yeah.
You pull up to a charging station, the map said it was working. You've got, what, 4% battery left?
Oh, yeah.
The kids are in the back, and you get there, and the screen's black. Or the connector's been run over. Or there's a gas car just sitting in the spot.
It's the broken promise of the whole network. And honestly, it's becoming a bigger barrier for people than the actual range of the cars. We've mostly figured out the batteries.
Cars go far enough now.
Right. We just haven't figured out the reliability of the plugs.
And that is exactly why I wanted to pull this specific source for today's deep dive. We're not looking at a new battery technology or, some government white paper.
No.
We're looking at the digital footprint of a single company called Sacramento Mobile EV Charging Solutions.
Such a great pick. Because on the surface, you just see a local service. Their website, sacramentomobileevcharging.com. That's our source text today. But I'm with you. If you dig into what this model represents, you're really looking at a fundamental shift in the EV market.
Right. So the mission for us today isn't just to review a California business. It's to use this source to understand a move away from what I'd call infrastructure 1.0.
Which
where,
says?
Digging holes, pouring concrete for charging pedestals. We're moving to infrastructure 2.0, which is fluid, mobile, responsive.
Fluid is the perfect word.
So let's just start there with the name itself, the first part. Mobile EV charging.
It sounds so simple, almost boringly descriptive, but it's actually a radical idea. It inverts 100 years of how we think about cars.
How so?
Think about it. Since the Model T, the whole idea has been the car is mobile, but the fuel is static. You, the driver, have to interrupt your day to go to the energy source.
And we just accept that as totally normal. We plan our whole lives around it. Oh, I've got to stop for gas on the way home. But this mobile idea in the Sacramento source, it flips that completely. The energy comes to you.
Right. And we should probably get a little technical for a second about why this is happening now. It's not just, a fancy concierge service for people who are lazy.
Okay.
It's a direct response to grid latency.
Right.
Do you have any idea how long it takes to permit and build a new DC fast charging station in a place like California?
I'm guessing it's not a weekend project.
You are talking 18 months, maybe 2 years.
Wow.
You've got utility upgrades, transformer shortages, easement rights, environmental impact reports, a mobile solution, basically a big battery on a truck. It just bypasses all of that.
It's pop-up infrastructure.
Exactly. So this company in Sacramento, they're not just delivering convenience. They're basically hacking the timeline of infrastructure deployment.
They're decoupled from the grid's limitations.
Totally. If a neighborhood in Sacramento suddenly has, 3 families on one street buy EVs in the same week, the local transformer might not be able to handle it.
Everyone plugging in at 6 p.m.
Right. A fixed station takes years to address that. A mobile unit can be there that night.
Okay, but I have to push back a little on the physics of it because it sounds inefficient. You're using a heavy truck with a driver carrying a huge heavy battery to drive to another battery to charge it. Isn't that just a big inefficient Band-Aid?
That is the classic criticism. The whole robbing Peter to pay Paul energy argument.
Okay.
It feels wasteful to move the charger.
Yeah.
But you have to look at the asset utilization numbers.
Okay, break that down for us.
That fixed charging station, the one in the Whole Foods parking lot,
Yeah.
it just sits there idle probably 60, maybe 70% of the day.
It's dead capital just sitting there.
Exactly. Just expensive copper and concrete doing nothing. But a mobile unit is always moving, always going to where the demand is. Its utilization rate can be optimized with software. So yeah, you spend some energy moving the charger, but you're saving the huge embedded carbon cost of building 5 different fixed stations that just sit empty most of the time. It's an OpEx solution to a CapEx problem.
That's a really interesting way to put it. So Sacramento Mobile EV Charging Solutions is trading a big capital investment in concrete and copper for an operational one trucks and software.
Correct. And that flexibility lets them serve markets that fixed infrastructure literally can't get to.
Which brings us to the next word in their name, solutions. I feel like that word is doing a lot of work.
I noticed that too. It's not Sacramento Mobile Chargers, it's solutions. That's a deliberate choice. It means they're fixing a problem, not just selling a product.
Because if you're just selling electricity, you're competing with a wall socket in a garage.
Yeah.
And that's a price where you can't win.
You can't.
But if you're selling a solution, what are you actually selling?
You're selling uptime. You're selling the guarantee that your business won't grind to a halt. You are selling risk mitigation.
And who needs that the most? It's probably not the person who just forgot to plug in their car in their garage. It's got to be fleet managers.
Let's drill down on that because the source is located in Sacramento. That's a government town, a huge logistics hub.
Right. You've got Amazon delivery vans, DHL, municipal fleets, all of that.
So imagine you manage a fleet of 50 electric delivery vans. You have a nightmare scenario on your hands called charging congestion.
Okay.
All your vans get back to the depot at 5 p.m. You need them all charged and ready to go by 6 a.m. tomorrow. But your depot was built in 1980. You've only got 10 plugs.
You have a math problem.
You have a disaster. You've got vans that won't be ready, packages that won't get delivered. You're losing money.
So how does the mobile solution fix that?
A service like this can roll into that depot overnight. They act as an overflow. They can cycle through all the vehicles that don't have a dedicated plug.
So the solution is that the fleet manager doesn't have to spend $1 million upgrading their entire electrical system right away.
Right, precisely. They could just hire this service to bridge the gap. It turns a huge, scary upfront cost into a manageable monthly fee. It scales up as their fleet grows.
Let's pivot to the geography. We can't ignore the Sacramento part of the name. Why there? Is it just a California thing, or is there something specific about that city?
Well, Sacramento is a really interesting microcosm. You've got the political pressure from the state, that 2035 ban on new gas car sales. So EV adoption is happening fast.
Okay.
But you also have this urban layout with a dense core, lots of older apartment buildings.
Which are notorious charging deserts. If you live in an apartment from the 70s, you don't have a garage. You can't just install your own charger.
Exactly. It's the multi-unit dwelling problem, or MUD.
Yeah.
Landlords are really slow to install chargers. It's expensive, it's complicated. So if you're a renter in Sacramento, you're kind of blocked from owning an EV unless you want to rely only on public charging.
Which brings us right back to that feeling of betrayal we started with. Sitting in a random parking lot for 40 minutes at 10 p.m.
Right. So a mobile service totally changes the math for that apartment dweller. If Sacramento Mobile EV Charging Solutions can meet you at your office while you work or at the gym, suddenly that barrier to owning an EV if you rent just evaporates.
It basically democratizes EV ownership for people who don't own a single-family home. That's actually a really big deal for equity.
That's the huge social impact, right? It decouples EV ownership from home ownership. You don't need a driveway to wake up with a full tank.
But I do wonder about the scalability for just a regular person. I mean, getting a private delivery of electricity to your car, it just sounds premium, expensive.
It is. And that's the tension here. Can this model be affordable for the average person, or is it always going to be a concierge service for the wealthy?
When I look at their digital gateway, the website, sacramentomobileevcharging.com/year, it feels like it has to be accessible. We should talk about that site.
The digital interface.
Because for a mobile business, the website isn't just a brochure, it's the anchor. It's the only fixed point for the company until that truck shows up at your curb.
It's the dispatch console. And for you, the listener, understanding the role of that URL is key. In this kind of decentralized infrastructure, the station is literally in your web browser.
That's interesting because we're so used to finding gas stations by just looking up. You see the big sign on the horizon.
The line of sight.
Yeah, line of sight navigation. This model shifts it to search and schedule. You have to know the service exists before you need it. You can't just be at 2% battery in Sacramento and hope a charging truck drives by.
You have to have that website bookmarked. It demands a more proactive consumer. You have to build your own safety net ahead of time.
You go from being a passive consumer of infrastructure, I hope there's a station nearby, to being an active manager of your energy. I have summoned the power.
I like that, summoning the power. It sounds like magic, but it's really just good logistics. It's the Uberification of energy. We've seen it with food, with transport. Why would electrons be any different?
That's a great point. But what's the downside? If everyone starts relying on mobile charging, do we just stop building fixed stations? Does it give cities an excuse to not upgrade the grid?
That's a real risk. It's what economists call a moral hazard. If the Band-Aid is too good, it might discourage the hard, expensive work of grid modernization. But honestly, we are so far behind on infrastructure right now that I don't think we need to worry about that yet. We need everything, an all-of-the-above approach.
I want to go back to the tech for a second. We're assuming this is a big battery on a truck.
Yeah.
But could it just be a diesel generator? Because that would be, well, pretty ironic.
The dirty secret scenario.
Yeah.
Look, in the early days, some roadside assistance trucks did use little diesel generators to give an EV just enough juice to get to a real plug. But a company branding itself as a solution in Sacramento.
In California.
Yeah, in the heart of eco-conscious regulation. They get crucified online if they were burning diesel to charge Teslas. The brand risk is just too high.
Okay, so we can assume it's a big battery?
We have to, which actually opens up this whole other fascinating angle that I think our listeners will find really interesting.
Oh, what are we missing?
Energy arbitrage.
Okay, you're going to have to explain that.
So the mobile charging truck has a giant battery inside. When do you think it charges itself?
I guess when electricity is cheapest. In the middle of the night?
Exactly. It fills up at 2 a.m. when the grid is flush with cheap wind power. Or maybe it charges from solar panels at noon when prices sometimes go negative. Then it drives around at 6 p.m. during peak demand and sells that cheap power to you at a premium.
So they're literally buying low and selling high.
They're not just selling a charging service. They are energy traders. They are physically moving cheap electrons from the middle of the night to the middle of the day. They're a mobile grid balancing tool.
Wow. That completely changes how I see the business model. This isn't just a tow truck with a battery. It's a modal power plant.
And that's why Sacramento Mobile EV Charging Solutions is such a rich source. It implies a level of sophistication that goes way beyond just, oh no, I'm stuck on the highway.
Right. It makes the fixed charging station look kind of dumb in comparison. The fixed station has to buy power at whatever the rate is at that exact moment.
The mobile unit has temporal flexibility. It buys time as much as it buys power.
So let's zoom out. We have this company in Sacramento with a website servicing this mix of panic drivers, apartment renters, and commercial fleets. What does this tell us about where things are headed in the next 5 years?
It tells me that the range anxiety era is ending and the charging convenience era is beginning. But there's another layer too, resilience.
Resilience. Unpack that for me.
Think about the California grid. It's stressed. You have heat waves, storms, rolling blackouts.
Right.
When the power goes out, a fixed charging station's just a useless brick.
Oh, that's a good point. You can't get gas during a blackout, and you definitely can't charge an EV.
Exactly. But a mobile charger, it's carrying its own power. If Sacramento has a blackout during a heat wave, this service suddenly becomes critical infrastructure. They can power a car, sure, but they could also power a house or a medical device.
So the definition of EV charging starts to blur into emergency power management.
Yes, and that's why solutions is the key word in their name. They're positioning themselves for a more volatile future. A fixed wire is fragile. A mobile asset is resilient.
That's a huge takeaway for the listener. When you see a service like this, don't just see convenience. See a strategy for resilience.
And if you're an EV owner listening to this, it's a strategy for peace of mind. Just knowing a service like this exists in your town might change your buying decision. You might get the car with a slightly smaller battery because you know you have the safety net.
It lowers the stakes. You don't feel like you absolutely need the 500-mile range if you know the charger can come to you.
Exactly. It makes the whole technology feel safer for the mainstream.
Okay, so let's just wrap up with that user experience. The website, sacramentomobileevecharging.com. If you live there, you bookmark it. But what if you don't?
If you're not in Sacramento, your takeaway is to search for the equivalent in your own city. Because this isn't just a Sacramento thing anymore. These services are popping up in Austin, in London, in Oslo.
So the actionable advice is audit your local options. Find the mobile solution before you're stranded.
Treat it like insurance. You don't go shopping for insurance after the car crash. You don't search for the mobile charger's website when your car and your phone are both at 1%.
I want to circle back to something you touched on, the service economy. We're subscribing to everything now. Is it possible that we won't even pay per charge in the future? Could you just subscribe to a service like this and they just keep your car charged?
That's the concierge model. You pay, say, $50 or $100 a month. They monitor your car's data remotely. All these cars are connected now. When your battery hits 20%, they just automatically dispatch a truck to your office. You never even think about it.
That sounds like an incredible luxury, like having a butler for your car.
It starts as a luxury, but these things trickle down. And then think about where it goes next. Autonomous vehicles, robotaxis.
They can't plug themselves in. I mean, people are working on robotic charging arms, but...
It's a hard problem to solve.
Oh.
But an automated mobile charger could meet a fleet of robotaxis in a holding lot overnight. This human-driven service we're looking at today, It's the prototype for an automated charging grid for automated vehicles.
That is a wild thought. So Sacramento Mobile EV Charging Solutions is basically the beta test for the entire logistics network of the future.
It's the connective tissue. We're figuring out the logic with human drivers now so that the robots can do it later.
Okay, so we've covered the tech, the geography, the energy arbitrage, the fleets. Is there anything else about that word solutions that we've missed?
I think just the simple human element. If you're stranded on the side of the road and you're stressed out, having a person show up to help is a solution that a silent, robotic kiosk can never offer.
That's very true. A fixed charger doesn't care if you're having a bad day or if it's pouring rain. A service provider does.
And in this transition phase, where so many people are new to EVs and a little confused by the tech, that human touch is actually a vital piece of the infrastructure.
So this company is part tech company, part energy trader, and part roadside therapist for anxious EV drivers.
I think that's a pretty fair summary. They're bridging the gap between the old combustion mindset and the new electric reality.
All right, let's wrap this deep dive up. We've seen that mobile means being decoupled from the grid. It means agility.
We've seen that Sacramento represents this perfect storm of regulation and urban density that makes it a great lab for this kind of business.
And we've seen that solutions means moving away from just selling a commodity kilowatts to selling uptime, peace of mind, and business continuity.
And that the website, the digital gateway, is the critical link that makes it all work.
So for you, the listener, the key insight is this. The energy map of your city is changing. It's no longer just a collection of static points. It's a dynamic field of power that can actually move to you.
You have to stop thinking, where can I find a charger? And start thinking, how can I make the charger find me?
Which brings me to the final thought I want to leave everyone with. If the charger is mobile and the car is mobile, does the very concept of a charging station eventually become obsolete? Are we moving to a world where the road itself, the parking spots, the pauses in our day, they become the station?
The city becomes the battery. It's a completely distributed system.
But the city is the battery. That is a massive idea to chew on.
It definitely changes how you look at a parking lot. It's not just a patch of asphalt anymore. It's a potential grid node.
It certainly does. Well, thank you for walking us through that. And for everyone listening, check out the source if you want to see this in practice. Sacramento Mobile EV Charging.com. Whether you're in Sacramento or not, start looking for the solutions that are moving around your city.
Stay charged.
Exactly. Stay curious, and we'll see you on the next deep dive.